if you didn't know this was here, you would know this was here. Saddle up. Morning. Pull up a chair. It's about 7:30 Friday morning, the 17th of March. We are going to make it to the Hovatter Homestead today. We're about 2 miles out from there, so it'll probably be a bumpy ride, but we're definitely going to make it there. We're also definitely going to make it to the World War II aerial marker, which is, I don't know how far from here, 16 miles or less, I really don't know. We are going to make it to the hunting cabin. We should also make it to Camp Horn, which is one of the, 15 camps that made up the desert training area. If we can get access to it while we're at the remains of Camp Horn, the Camp Horn Army Airfield is in that same area. Some of it's farming land, so I don't know if we'll be able to get to it, but if we can, we'll check that out as well. We're going to try to fuel up in Dateland, so while we're there, we should be able to check out the Dateland Army Airfield. And I believe, unless there's something on my map that I'm not remembering, that should be about everything today. We're going to end up at a Best Western, at least that's the plan, because we have to go grocery shopping tomorrow, and we don't want to smell like we've been camping for the weekend.
Excuse me while I go take shower.
My wonderful wife's over here by the kitchen making breakfast. So, yeah, let's eat. About 8:40, and we're ready to hit the trail. So, on to Hovatter Ranch. On to Hovatter Homestead. Yeah, you know what I mean. 2 miles. Let's go check it out. Saddle up. I can't help but be a little anxious as we leave camp this morning. Not that I don't think we'll make it to the Hovatter Homestead. I mean, it's only 2 miles away. But my goals are always a little ambitious. And very rarely do they fully come to fruition. And yet, I press on. Forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. We are entering the Hovatter Homestead, and this very cool row of cactus was actually put here by Ray Hovatter's wife Barbara when they first got out here. So she did all this landscaping herself. Very cool. It doesn't look like much. I guess we'll have to walk around and see, because I know there's stuff here to see. Let's go see what we can see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's where we just came from. The Hovatter Homestead. 5 miles off the Arizona Peace Trail and just inside the northeast corner of the Kofa National Wildlife Refuge. Ray found this place while serving under General George S. Patton in the Arizona-California Training Center. Along with his wife, Barbara, and his 3 daughters, Lindsay, Jeanette, and Sandra, Ray settled this area from 1951 until his death in 1974. No power lines, no water lines, and no plumbing for toilets. Their homestead was the epitome of off the grid. On May 18th, 1968, tragedy struck the Hovatter Homestead. While Ray was working on a recently installed leaking propane tank along with 2 of his daughters, the lantern they were using caused an explosion, destroying a large portion of the homestead. Lindsay succumbed to her injuries 6 weeks later on June 29th, 1968. After burying Lindsay here on the homestead, Ray's wife Barbara moved to Phoenix to help with Sandra's continued medical care, while Ray, however, remained on the homestead until he died of pneumonia in 1974. Now, Barbara and her two daughters came back out to the homestead and actually started digging Ray's grave. And wouldn't you know it, a son of one of Arizona's pioneer cattlemen, a young Bob Crowder, showed up to help dig Ray's grave right next to Lindsay's here on the homestead. Having died of heart complications on December 10th, 1992, just short of her 82nd birthday, Barbara's ashes were spread right here over the graves of her husband Ray and daughter Lindsay. So the spur off of the Arizona Peace Trail to the Hovatter Ranch, it's a typical Kofa trail if you're familiar with Kofa. If you're not familiar with Kofa, it's an easy trail that's going to have some spots that slow you down. You can do it, anything with some ground clearance. A stock Jeep would do it just fine with decent tires and take your time through a few sections of it. We didn't even need four-wheel drive through any of this particular section. I turned it on just so I could have my electronic sway bar disconnect, but honestly, unless it was wet out here, you're not going to need it. You're not going to make it in a car, but anything with any ground clearance, you shouldn't have any problems getting out here. So we're going to head back down the spur to the Arizona Peace Trail and go see if we can't find this World War II aerial navigation thing. Yeah. Looks like it actually smooths out once you get down here.
It does.
I know I said you wouldn't need four-wheel drive for the spur to Hovatter Ranch. This part's kind of steep and rocky, so maybe I was wrong. But I think if you needed it, this will probably be the only part you need it for. Just because it's steep and loose rock. Back on the Arizona Peace Trail, we are now on section 12, which, if you're using the Atlas, rated easy. A little rocky so far, but not bad. We'll see how easy it is. This should take us from Hovatter Road, which I believe is what we just left there, coming off of the spur to Hovatter Ranch, down to Dateland, which is where I plan on getting, we're going gas. And we should be able to check out the Dateland Airfield, I believe. We'll see. Oh, man, that's harsh. Whew. Holy smokes. So, I'm not sure if I would call this moderate, but you gotta go really slow through this section because, man, these rocks are fierce. Definitely have to have good ground clearance. I don't believe I'd do that part with the stock Jeep. Yeah, you could if you picked your line better than I did. Whew. Man, that was harsh, but we're through it now. If you didn't know this was here, you would know this was here. From the trail, or even just off the trail, just looks like a bunch of rocks. Looks like any other part of the desert. But from the correct vantage point, you can see the words Aztec 41 and 2 arrows. One pointing north, one pointing southeast. About 41 miles southeast from this point is the southeastern edge of the town of Aztec, which also happens to border the Barry Goldwater Air Force Range. In that area, if you look hard enough on Google Maps, you can find what looks like some old airstrips perhaps. Now, the Army made really good use of this whole area back during World War II. Not only was it part of General Patton's desert training area, it was also used as part of the Army Advanced Flight School. And there are old airfields scattered all over this area, a couple of which we're going to try to take a look at. These markings, such as this one here, were used as navigational aids for the pilots that trained in this area. All right, back on the Peace Trail. Next stop, I think the hunting cabin. The door's not closed. Comment, like, subscribe. I don't even know if I'm in the shot. Well, Section 12 is not difficult, it is slow. Just a lot of washes, a lot of dips, a lot of rocks. So don't be in a hurry, at least not in a Jeep, if you're gonna drive through Section 12. About 16 miles from the Aztec 41 Arial marker, you'll find an Arizona Game and Fish Department Ranger cabin. It's nothing to get excited about though, just a rundown cabin that used to be available to rangers, hunters, or pretty much anyone that needed a temporary place to shelter. And it's right next to a watering hole designed for the local wildlife. After the hunter's cabin, it's smooth sailing. We're getting up to 35, 40 miles an hour coming through here. It's 2:30 now, 75 degrees in case you care. Beautiful out here. As easy as the trail beyond the hunter cabin is, unfortunately, we did not make it beyond Dateland on the Arizona Peace Trail on this particular trip. We did make it to Dateland to fill up our gas tank and head to Yuma via Interstate 8. But not before we took the opportunity to check out the Dateland Army Airfield. Established on January 1st, 1943, construction was completed 5 months later on June 1st, and the post was garrisoned on July 8th. The Dateland Army Airfield was a sub-base of the Yuma Army Airfield, where the Army Advanced Flying School was located. Originally designed for single-engine gunnery training, the Dateland Army Airfield was converted to twin-engine gunnery school in September of 1943 and held 60 B-25J gunships from December 25th to January 20th, 1944. There have been multiple attempts over the years to maintain the airfield for various reasons, but none of them seem to have panned out, and all that's left of the airfield today is a sand-filled bunker once used to sight the machine guns of the B-25 gunships, a couple cement taxiways, and a very deteriorated triangular runway. If you liked this video, head on down there and give me a big thumbs up. If you've run the Arizona Peace Trail before and I missed something, or maybe I got some of my information wrong, by all means, leave me a comment down there. Let me know if I messed up and I will gladly correct myself. If you're enjoying the content, hit subscribe. Help us grow this channel, and unfortunately, as hard as I try to be, I'm not regular at posting on YouTube. So hit the bell, that way you'll know when our next video comes out. As always, thanks for watching, guys. God bless you, and who knows, the good Lord willing, we might just see you out on the trail.